if we want to multiply or divide complex numbers using the trigonometric forms, finding products and quotients, then here's our formula for those, where of course r1 cosine theta 1 plus I sine theta 1, that's your z1, and z2 is the r2 piece. Okay. So let's take our complex numbers that we had on the last page, -3 minus 3i, and let's multiply it by 1 minus square root of 3i. There's our z1 and z2. Now our r from this one was 3 times the square root of 2. Our r from this one was plain old regular 2. So our thetas, theta 1 was 5 pi over 4. That was our angle. And theta 2 for 1 minus square root of 3i was 5 pi over 3. Now, of course, we want to go ahead and clean up, do the arithmetic in the parentheses. It may or may not be a nice looking fraction when we're done, but we do need to write it as just a single fraction in there. So if we add 5 pi over 4 and 5 pi over 3, I know that the common denominator is going to be 12. This would end up being 15, and this would end up being 20, so 35 pi over 12. Now, if we wanted to, let's do this in a different color, just algebraically multiply those guys together. If we FOIL, we have the first and the outside and the inside and the last. So combining our real parts together, we have a -3, and that will become -3 square root of 3 for the real part. And combining our complex parts together, we can factor out the I, and we have 3 square root of 3 minus 3. If you type -3 minus 3 square root of 3 into your calculator, you get -8 point something. If you take 6 square root of 2 times cosine 35 pi over 12, you also get that -8 point something. Okay. So again, algebraically, this is how we've always multiplied. We FOIL, we distribute, we combine our like terms. Okay, but in trigonometric form, it would look like that mess. If we want to take -3 minus 3i and divide it by 1 minus square root of 3 times I, it says we're going to divide those two r's. And in here, we're going to have the cosine of the difference of the angles instead of the sum. So subtracting now, 3 square root of 2 over 2 doesn't simplify. But we have 15 pi over 12 minus 20 pi over 12. So we would have cosine of -5 pi over 12 plus I sine -5 pi over 12. I'll do this so we can keep it straight. Okay. And this would be the ratio of those two complex numbers. If you multiplied top and bottom here by the conjugate, you went through and did all the work, you should come up with the equivalent vector for that. Okay. So that's multiplying and dividing.